$500-600 that runs and drives, but they need some work. And he's always said, "Oh, you got a truck right here you can use for personal use." Well, I can't afford to put the gas in it for you every time I need it. And on top of that, I can't stop my runs to do it. And when somebody else is in it during the day when most people are available, I can't have you stop the other guy from his runs, from making his money, to go get my car. So it just wouldn't work out. Like, I ended up there was only one time I used it for personal use, and that is when I had to go pay the guy during the day, and then have him park the car out by the road, and then pick it up in the middle of my shift. And I had to play it out that way so it didn't affect my work. So, it sat there for 2 or 3 days because we actually got really busy on my shift. And I just had to keep telling the guy that I was like, "Sorry, it's really busy, I can't pick it up yet." But really, at that point, I was like, okay, I need to get my own truck. It wasn't so much for a business aspect, because I didn't care what it looked like. I wasn't going to run DOT numbers or anything like that on it. It was literally just going to be a not-for-hire thing, and it was going to literally be used for personal. Because if I don't buy these used cars, my brother does. If he doesn't, his friend does. If they don't, then his other friend does. So we're always buying these cheap cars. And usually, for the prices that we pay for them, they don't run, they don't drive. They're missing parts. So we need we need to be able to tow. So I got what I'm assuming is a cab swap. It looked like it was an F350 frame, but it was a 97 round body F150 cab on a rollback. The rollback was very thin, very cheap. I could shake it, whatever. It started me out. I think they wanted like $10,000 for it after everything. I traded in the Crown Vic that I had. Put down $5,000 cash. And that left me with like $2,700 that I was gonna have to pay. Told them they'd have that within 90 days. It wasn't for a business, so I didn't care the way it looked, as long as it operated right. I had that car. He's like, "Why that one? Why that one?" Well, because I have no choice. This is what I have. I have no other choice. He seemed to be alright with it. Of course, he brought it up and asked me a few times, like, "You plan on leaving me now?" No. Ended up having to take it to work because that's where we was meeting that day. And the boss seen it. And he tested it out, made sure, like, he was just checking it out, working all the controls, and then he started feeling like I was going to leave him. And he was talking to his other buddy, saying that he felt betrayed, and he's upset because I have my own truck. And I told him, I was like, "Dude, I told you in the beginning, I'm not quitting my company. And I told you I'm not going to straight out just quit you. Like, if at very most, if I have to, I will go down in time and I'll work a set number of days, so you're not being left completely short-handed." And I told him, I was like, "I will leave my personal and my business life separated. It's not a conflict of interest if I know how to do that, and I do know how to do that. My work isn't going to interfere with your work. I'm not going to stop working your job to go jump in my truck and go do a run or two in my truck." Like, even when I was on duty with him, I wouldn't do that. Even if it was dead, it's like, your company is my time. My time is in your company. He really stopped talking to me, I guess, pretty much. He made sure I was staying for about another week or so. And after he seen that, he just pretty much just stopped talking to me. I don't know if he didn't like the fact that I had a truck, or I don't know what the problem was, but I still gave him my 100% effort on my jobs with him. And at that point, to him, it was just like I was dailying a truck. That's really all he had to see it as, that I was dailying a truck. He didn't want to see it that way, I guess. I really don't know. I don't want to speak on his part, but it's just what it feels like. Before that, there was another animosity minute where he stopped sending me runs. I couldn't work. I have issues sometimes where for a few days I can't put pressure on my leg, and it's very hard to climb in and out of a truck that's way off the ground, because I have to drop down to my leg, or drop down to the ground whenever I'm getting out. So I did what I could, and I gave them a heads up the night before my off nights. I told them, look, I'm not trying to get out of work, but please just give me a light night. I can't really bend right. I can't move right. I'm slower. My legs hurting. And I gave them a warning because this has happened multiple times. Like, and you already know when it's like this, if I'm not careful, I'm going to be out for a couple days because I cannot walk on it. So they sent me home early. They said, just go ahead and go home. There ain't nothing going on. Alright, thanks. I went home. But I left, and then I seen the truck out riding around. So I log into our app and see the other driver was getting dispatched the calls that should have been for me. And I asked him about it, and they had called him and told him that I'm not trying to work and they need somebody to pick up the slack. And I told him, I was like, no, dude, I just can't walk right. The second off day I had, I still couldn't walk at all. I actually went up to go to the bathroom, and my leg gave out on me because I stepped wrong. Like I stepped on a little bit of an incline and straightened my leg out and popped, and then it came out from under me. And then it was twice as swollen. It was twice as throbbing. Like I had to crawl to the bathroom and then crawl back to my bed to get back on bed rest because I couldn't put any weight on it. So I told him I was gonna have to be out again. Well, the next day, there was a big concert going on, and he said, "Hey, meet me down here." Okay. I'm thinking, at the time, I didn't know it was a concert, but they was out, so I kind of could have figured that there was a reason why we was going out. Maybe the other driver was going to be out in the truck, and they were just going to have me helping them spot around for cars to grab out of some apartments or something, which is like, all right, fine, whatever. Y'all are going to be with me. I'm not the one towing. So I pull up to where he told me to meet him. Pretty much the whole company's there. The other two drivers are out running. And then there's me sitting there with them, and then they're wanting to have a meeting with me there and talking about, like, oh, what's going on? Is this, you just not wanting to work no more? I told them, I was like, that's not the case. It's like, I was hurt. I'm sorry. I can't help when I'm hurt. When I'm hurt, I can't walk. It's like, I've still been devoting my time to your company. Like, well, if you're wanting to start your own company, then you gotta give it 24/7 effort, this and that. You can't do it working under anyone. And I was like, I can. Because at that point, I started putting my truck to work because I have a big bill that I have to pay at the end of the month. So I asked them, I was like, look, my shift is dead. You know this. There's a lot of time that I'm just sitting. You have me stuck at this 30% commission. It's great pay if you have 8 runs a day, or even 8 runs every 2 days. There's weeks I might only get 4 runs. So it's not so great a pay to me. It's like, yes, there's been a few times that I've surpassed, $1,000, and that's on busy weeks. But 9 times out of 10, I was bringing home 5, maybe 600, while I'm dedicating 12 hours a night, 5 nights a week to it. It's like, if I wanted to make $500, I can go flip burgers for 6 hours a day for 5 days, and I can make that and then some. So it wasn't a hit towards him. It was just I was requesting. It's like, look, I didn't want to ask this in any kind of meetings because I don't want the other drivers to feel like I'm getting more, but I'm doing less. I didn't want to cause any kind of issues. I don't want to tell nobody about the pay upgrade if we can come to an agreement. This is just something for me to be able to survive at this point because my bills ain't stopping. I come home, I'm working, I don't like working paycheck to paycheck, and at this point, that's really what I'm doing. And I'm not even getting that paycheck to paycheck. I'm still falling behind paycheck to paycheck. And I don't spend money on myself like that. I've saved $50 off of each check to be able to get up to that $5,000 mark. I've sold some vehicles to get up to that $5,000 mark, and then I had my vehicle for a $3,000 trade-in. So that's the only reason why I was able to afford getting the truck, is because I've been saving for a while. So it wasn't so much of, just trying to branch off and do my own thing. It was, I told him, contract me. You want to use my truck a lot. You keep talking about using my truck and wanting to use it for your company. I'm fine with that. But I want more than 30%, because I would be using my own fuel, my own insurance, my own equipment. As a business owner, to think that they would understand, like, okay, yeah, you do have your own overhead that you have to oversee. If your truck goes down, it's not like I'm just down a truck. I'm down my daily driver. I'm down my work abilities. I lose everything all in one if I lose this truck, or if something happens to this truck. Let me do some amount for doing impounds for him that night, and so I accepted. I did them, and then he threw me in the truck that night. Didn't even tell me whether or not I was going to be working, or if I was still working for him. He just threw me in the truck. Then they still wasn't talking to us. Like, we was pretty much put on the back burner, like we didn't exist. And I wasn't getting ahead. I'm still falling behind. Calls ain't coming through. So I was trying to talk with the third driver that he's got, this newest driver, that he needs the money. He needs as much money as he can get at that time, because he was staying with somebody else, and he didn't like it. He wanted to be back in his own place. I'm not going to talk about that. It's it's nothing bad at all. He went through a tragedy, and it sucks for him. So I understood that he needed the money. So I was talking to him. I didn't even bring this up to the owners yet. Well, I did bring it up to the owners. It's like, I'm going to try to correlate with him when it's that time, and see if he's willing to work the days that I can't, or the days I'm trying to get off. That way, so y'all aren't left short-handed. I'm going to try to kind of plan around that schedule. Like, if there's days that he cannot do it, and I'll work those days. That's so I can kind of plan around. That was so they didn't lose time in the truck. The truck still stayed running the way it should have. Beneficial to everyone. He gets more time. I'm still in the truck, but I get more time with my company. And the other driver, he's unfazed anyways, because he works daytimes. So I tried my best to correlate everything, think everything out before I did it. Talked over with my family. It's like, look, there's going to be a pay cut, but with that pay cut, if we could just hold on for a little bit, do we have enough to hold on for a little bit, then we can possibly make that money back within a few months. I didn't get much of an answer out of him. And then some other things went down. I loaned out a jump box to somebody that we were sharing a lot with. And, well, really, I didn't loan it out with him. It's like we used it. And then I followed him because I was going to keep it with me. And then I was just going to bring it back to the lot or something if I needed to. And ended up taking us a few hours to get done. They still didn't need it at the time. But that's why I stayed with them. If they needed it, I'd ran it to wherever it needed to be. Later on that night, as I was heading back, before I even got out of the area, he called me and told me he shut his truck down after 4 hours, immediately dead again. So I rolled up so he could jump it. It's a big semi and needed that jump box specifically. He was talking about he was going back to the lot so he can grab a semi-trailer and move it to the new location that they wanted it at. So I was like, well, I'm just going to leave. Do you mind if I just leave you with the jump box and then you drop it off at the lot since you're going anyways? He was fine with that. He either hadn't made it to the lot yet, or he did and he forgot the jump box in another vehicle. They called me, asked me where it's at. I told them where it was, and I even told the other driver, and I called the guy that had it, and I couldn't remember if he said he left it in the truck on the lot or if he forgot it was in his car, but he was going to turn around and go give it to him. So I let the other driver know, and then they didn't like that. They said no more loaning equipment. I was like, it really wasn't so much of a loan. It's just how everything happened. So after all this, I was still getting blown up in the middle of my sleep on my off days, but I'm assuming it was just poor communication all the way around. Because by that time he had already had the jump box on the truck. So then they started threatening to come to my house, and there was an attitude behind it. I woke up to 12 missed calls from all of them, and then one voicemail, which was that voicemail. So that ticked me off. Waking up, you don't want to have an altercation waking up. So I called him back, told him I was like, well, because of this, because of how everything is transcribing, and it seems like everybody's got something against me because of the fact that I have my own truck, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I've tried coordinating with him. He won't answer me on if these days are good for him. And I told him if not, that I need to put in my 2 weeks so y'all can get somebody that can work these. So I guess I'm putting in my 2 weeks. Fast forward, don't get any calls. It's all immediately going to the other driver on my shift. So I was like, whatever. I guess I just don't have a job. I was fired without being fired. Well, I came back to the lot not too long ago to pick up some of my old paperwork, and they apologized for that. They was not happy. They was dealing with their own things at the time. I told them I'm not holding a grudge. It's fine. It's whatever. Me being just woken up, that just kind of put me in a bad mood. But I mean, I didn't, hold on to it. It just is what it is. And I've told them, I was like, look, I can still be your friend. I have no problem being a friend. I'm not going to hold a grudge. It's just, if you need help, you can contract me out. But that's just kind of where it is. I'm not going to work for you no more. Because I've already been burned 3 times. So now I am in my own company. I have my own lot now. I'm starting to pick up on contracts here and there. It just is what it is. Everything happens for a reason, I guess. It's motivated me more to make sure that my company thrives, because I want to get a decent sized fleet going soon. I want to have about 4 flatbeds and 4 auto loaders, maybe even more down the line, but that's my goal as of right now. Is I want multiple vehicles, not even so much as having these vehicles manned at all times, because what I would really like to do is get a flatbed that works, that way so I can run flatbed and my auto loader, that way so if I need the certain one, I have them, and then get another one, and then make sure that that one is pretty much rebuilt top to bottom, and everything works, everything is on point, everything's 100%, no leaks, no noises, no exhaust leaks, all lighting works, everything is, upgraded, and then retire the one that I'm already using, do the same thing to it while I'm driving the new one, build it up, and then get a third one, build that one up, and then same thing with all these, the auto loaders that I'm wanting. I want to get older, or one like this where it's just a pickup with a sliding unit, have the sliding unit 100% rebuilt, if not bought new, and then have the truck itself built up from the ground up, that way so it's like I have new trucks, but I don't have new truck prices, $140,000 for a rollback, well, I can have, $30,000 into a rollback that does exactly what it's supposed to do and performs the way the new ones do. That'd be a great goal to have. And then maybe getting a bigger lot one day that, really even the bigger lot, I don't even need the bigger lot. So those are some ambitious goals that I have, is because I want my company built up before I get drivers. If I have to get another driver to take care of workload, I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to have 6 or 7 drivers within the first 3 years, because then there's no profit in it. After all the overhead and the payroll, the company, the owner pretty much only makes 30%, and yes, that's not bad, being that you're making that 30% and not doing it. You're not lifting a finger, except for maybe answering a phone call or just making sure your drivers are good and make sure they know what they're doing, training them and all that. So no, it's not bad. But when you're a small company, every dollar, even every dime, counts when it comes to trying to make a profit. That way, so you can make a name for yourself. So if you're automatically just hiring out drivers and your truck goes down and it's 10,000 to make and you only have 4,000, not many companies are going to work with you on that 7,000 for the repairs. Usually they want them repairs, and plus you don't know how long it's going to be down for until they can get it fixed. And every day that you're down and not working, you're losing money. This industry is very cruel, and I mean that can make or break your contracts, or make or break your a long-term relationship with the customer. If they can't get a hold of you and you can't supply their needs, they may never call you again. So that's about where I'm at with it. I wish the best of luck to my ex-employers. I hope that we can still remain friends. Well, my ex-employer. I'm in hopes that we can still remain friends, and he can come to me and talk to me, or maybe even just hang out with me one day. I'm just kind of hoping that's something that we can do one day. I'm fine with that. If he needs work done, he can contract me, and hopefully we can get something going. But with that, I'm at my lot. I have to drop the carts on my boom right now. I hope this video isn't too long by the time I edit it, and I will catch y'all again.